Fox News Alert, this is Saturday in America. I'm Kaylee McEnany. We have unearthed an explosive report. The 2022 document that I am holding is an 87-page report from the then acting state auditor in California, addressed directly to the governor of California, warning in no uncertain terms that the state's weak oversight of hospice agencies has created opportunities for large-scale abuse and fraud. That last part's a direct quote. Now look at this screenshot of the very first page of the audit, addressed to Governor Gavin Newsom. The subtitle warns of the extensive fraud plaguing California today. It cites fraud indicators found particularly in Los Angeles County, a rapid increase in the number of hospice agencies with no clear correlation to increased need. In fact, listen to this. The aged population increased 40% in California between 2010 and 2021, while the hospice agencies increased an astonishing 1,589%. Another indicator was the excessive geographic clustering of hospices, with sometimes dozens of separately licensed agencies located in the same building, and also abnormally high rates of still living patients discharged from hospice care, despite hospice typically offering care for people expected to live 6 months or less. And look at this. You won't believe it. They even gave Newsom a map. Quote, 210 active hospice agencies located within 1 mile of each other on Van Nuys in Los Angeles County. Now, did Gavin Newsom go to these locations? Did his government check out these buildings? This document reads like points from a Nick Shirley video. But no, these were the fraud warnings listed by the acting state auditor 4 years ago, leading him to conclude, quote, that a network or networks of individual perpetrators in Los Angeles County are engaging in a large and organized effort to defraud the Medicare and Medi-Cal hospice programs. It appears that California's state auditor discovered 4 years ago what RFK Jr. outlined on Capitol Hill this week.
The hospices in Los Angeles, we've shut down 500 of them. We have not gotten one call from a congressperson or one call from a patient. Why? Because those hospices did not exist.
Right.
They were signing up patients. They were getting patient IDs, signing them up, and charging us $6,000 a month for that patient. How did we detect them all? Because the patients never died.
But it gets worse. The auditor notes that the California Department of Public Health had failed to issue regulations for its hospice licensing process, despite having had the authority to do so since 1991. And then listen closely to this, quote, we reviewed cases in which public health became aware of possible fraud during the licensing process, and instead of denying the licenses, this is Gavin Newsom's health agency, it granted licenses to these hospice agencies. Why? Now, the failure of Gavin Newsom's government paved the way for this.
You'd be amazed at how many hospices the door you can walk up to in California, and there is nobody there. There is 5 months worth of mail that you can see stacked up from CMS, and nobody's there. That passed a survey. How did that happen? How do you put a hospice in a burrito stand in California? How do you put a hospice in a tire store in California? That all had to be vetted through licensure and through certification and accreditation.
But Gavin Newsom told us he was on the case. Do you remember this? Newsom told us that he was, quote, leading the charge against large-scale identity theft and hospice fraud. Well, apparently not. His auditor wrote this. Since 2015, the California Department of Public Health has never suspended a hospice license and has revoked a hospice license only once. That's what he wrote in 2021. Now, the auditor went on to recommend that Newsom convene a task force to investigate and prosecute fraud, require departments to establish working groups for risk assessment, among other recommendations. Now, Gavin Newsom did sign legislation in 2021, which put a moratorium on new hospice licenses. That plan is still in place. It's set to expire. Clearly, however, his efforts were insufficient. That was evidenced by Dr. Oz's recent raids on hospice facilities in